because they killed African criminals. They delivered.
Yes. Madam Chair, thank you. I think I'll probably end here with my evidence in chief, and my learned friend can commence.
Let me ascertain from my sisters if they have any questions to the witness. Yes, my sister, Advocate Baloy Mary SC, has some questions.
Mr. Danikas, can you please enlighten us? You were with the Katomena unit for a number of years, and a lot of killings and torture happened during the time that you were with the Katomena. Did you participate in any of those killings and or torture that were carried out?
Absolutely not, Chair.
What were you doing when all this happened as a member of that unit?
Chair, can you be more specific? I find this a general question. I need to understand how can I respond to that? You're referring to when all this happening as what?
You were involved or you were invited when the Katomena went on some operations. For example, that incident where Major General Boysen was called and he was with you. You went together to that incident. What was your role, or what did you do at that incident, and not only at that one, because you were a member of the Katomena unit, and also from your introduction, one can pick up that you are a trusted person by Major General Boysen, to a point that he even made sure that you get a gun when you did not qualify to get a gun. Now, one asks themselves this question. You say you were given a Z88 and even a Beretta. What was your role? What did you do with your guns? What did you do while people were being interrogated? Did you just stand and looked, or what did you do?
Sure. I'm going to start with the last comment, qualified to get a gun. I need to give you some context to understand my key role. I was a businessman and a reservist, so most of the time I will spend it at my premises repairing computers and selling computers. Now, because I discovered the technique to fight crime in my store by analyzing data and then arrest a suspect at my store, I made an unprecedented successful, an unprecedented success of combating crime. It's been documented by the media. I've been awarded by the National Commission. So what I was doing, I needed a firearm because I was catching criminals in Smith Street. I was well known and I have many videos to produce because of our surveillance in my store. So every given day, my life was in danger. Now, you say that I was not qualified to have a firearm. Allow me to say that I will not agree with that. I had a shotgun. I had 2 gun licenses. No gun license were ever taken from me. Therefore, I don't understand that comment of qualifying to have a gun. Because my firearm was stolen from my house, I remained with a shotgun, which remained in my property while I was in South Africa, a private shotgun. So I was in the possession of a legal private shotgun, but you cannot go around with a shotgun. You cannot be in a store and protect yourself with a shotgun. You cannot walk around. You need a concealed weapon. And therefore, and because I was combating crime constantly at my shop, Johan Boyson wanted to reward me by allocate me a police firearm for my protection. Now, the firearms were changed, so it was not like I was locating many firearms at the same time. If one has to look at the documentation provided, at a period of time I was allocated a specific firearm. Then, due to logistics, it's taken away and they replace it with another one. Then that's taken away and they replace with another one. That is something that has to do with the way the police works. So at no given time, I was giving many firearms and I was going around like a cowboy. I had one firearm, handgun, which was a South African police service pistol allocated to me, and that provided me protection in case I get robbed again in my store. I've been robbed before, or because I was doing also 2 years, I've done a undercover drug reinforcement agency, used me to do drug arrest. So obviously I need to have a firearm. So I've done quite a lot of things in terms of fighting crime, and for that I needed to have a firearm. And because my own personal firearm was stolen, that's why I was given another firearm by Johan Boyson. I don't know if that covers you when it comes to the firearms.
It does. I refer to the firearms because you said in your testimony you received a firearm when you were still a reservist. You remember?
Correct. I'm a reservist, means I'm in the police force.
So reservists do receive firearms.
As far as I'm concerned, yes, they do, when they're on
Okay.
duty.
Okay. The next part of my question, during this torture and the killings of the suspects, what were you doing? What was your role as a member of the Katomana unit?
First of all, I need to distinguish something. I was allocated and based at the headquarters provisional and borrowed by the Katamana unit. That was the understanding. Secondly, I need to understand the context of your question. There was, I view 3 or 4 incidents in my whole 8 years at the Katamana unit. One was the 2004 torture. I arrested at my store a suspect with a stolen laptop. I arrest him, I call the unit to come and pick him up, and out of courtesy, because I've done the arrest and I've cracked the case because I linked the laptop to a hijack, I was invited for interrogation. The moment I view the interrogation, it started becoming torture. I risked my life to secretly take those 3 short video clips. I left without evidence, and I took it straight to my commanding officer to report wrongdoing. So this is exactly what my role was at this particular case. Then there were 2 other videos, I think. The one was the 2016, which I don't think we mentioned today, where Johan Boyson comes to my store and start telling us how they were shooting a black African human, which they thought she was a prostitute for fun with no lethal guns. I knew he was going to talk about it. I've made a setup with a secret microphone and video. I record this so I can do a public disclosure. That was 2006. Then a year later, there was the incident at the Greek Easter. There, the shooting had taken place. They called us while we were at my house celebrating my Greek Easter. Johan Boysen and Adal Sonikus came to have a drink while I and my friends were at my house. And because it happened that Johan Boysen was at my house and the shooting took place, and I was a reservist, he invited me with. So you have to see that because we're friends and a few times we're drinking together or we're socializing, and a call will come at night because most of the guys will go out at night to look at suspects. If Johan Boysen got a call and there was a shooting, that Johan Boysen would be called to go to the crime scene to either manipulate it or just do his magic. I don't know what he was doing there except of diverting or managing the scene. I will go along. And while I will go along, because I had my phone and my camera, I was allowed to or directed to cover those things for reasons I have disclosed previously. So you can count 3 or 4 incidents that I was taking to the Katamani unit. So it wasn't I was going all the time and participating with to shootings or anything like that. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. And the ones that I was going there, it was by invitation by Johan Boysen most of the time.
So can I accept that you were sort of a cameraman for the incidents? Your job was to take pictures, or you took pictures without having been mandated to do so. But most of the time, when you were with the Katomena, you took pictures or videos.
That's correct, sir. Most of the times, and I have a lot of archive files in my possession of that, they will ask me to take pictures while they were posing after an incident had happened. But those are the times where I'll be only with Boysen. So me and Boysen will go, I'll be a visitor because I was a reservist also. I will go to a crime scene with Boysen. Sometimes I will drive him there. I'll put my blue light on, but he authorized for me to have. So I can drive him to a crime scene when he was with me. And we'll drive to a crime scene, he'll take over, and I will be allowed to take photos. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. How will they allow a reservist to enter a crime scene and start taking videos and photos? You can hide everything. Now, in 2004, that was the very first time I went as a police reservist to the Katomani unit. At the moment I saw torture, I had the phone and I took secret videos and I made a public disclosure. That was early years, 2004. The rest, there was nothing secret. I get on the scene, So they allow me to sit there for 20 minutes to take photos, videos. So they allow me to do that after the fact.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, my sister, Mira Makaka, would like to ask you a question.
Yeah, Mr. Danikas, in your statement, you also informed this panel about the duty register that would be completed by reservists. Now, in your statement, there is a duty register that was for the month of May, that you find in AD 17, that is page 4A of 30. Page 30, I'll call it page 30 because it's 4A. The statement starts with 4A and then you see the 30. Do you see that duty?
I'm there, Chair.
Right.
I'm there, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you. I think my question will just be confined to what I see. That is the only duty register that I see in the docket, or rather in the statement, I beg your pardon. But can you be able to assist us about the year in which this was done? Was it May which year? Are you able to assist independently of your own from top of your head?
Sir, that says month 05. So that will be 2005. No, that's a month 05. I don't see the year, to be honest with you, there, but I need to look at my hard copies and then I can see what's going on there. Because this has been taken, I believe, from my website. It's got my logo, Aris Danikas. So I believe that evidence leaders have taken it from my website and not from my original files that I have. So I need to see where the date is reflected, because it's not reflected on this particular document.
Okay. I noticed from an entry of the 24th day of May, the one at the bottom. Do you see it? On the
24th, I guess.
Yeah, the 24th. Right, you are stating that you attended the scene at Morningside and where you had been invited to the scene by Mr. Mostert. And when you arrived, you tried to enter the scene or get at the scene of the incident, and Superintendent Olivier barred you from, he refused you entry to the crime scene. Do you see that?
That's correct, sir.
Now,
Madam Chair, I can see that.
Right, thank you. Now, at this time, at the time when he refused you entry to the scene, what had been the position before? Was it the first time you experienced this, or did you not know that you would not be allowed to the scene, and as a result you were barred from accessing the scene for the first time?
Chair, that was the very first time that happened to me. As I mentioned earlier on, I felt very embarrassed because I was accompanied by a South African Greek friend of mine. We were out, go to a nightclub, the two of us, and out of the blue, Inspector Mostert called me and say, "Come there." And I go there. And when I see that, I said, okay, there's another incident. I didn't have the details yet. So as I walk in to go in, like I do all the time, like go in, get my camera, and I have my blue jacket, because as a crime scene investigator kit, you're allowed to go to your unit to see what's going on and monitor what's happening. And as I go there, they won't let me go in.
Okay.
Actually, was very shocked, embarrassed.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So from your full answer that you have given, it is so that previously you would have easy access to the scene, take photographs, and do whatever you are supposed to do. Now, are you able to enlighten us about whether at this point or on this date when Mr. Olivier barred you from accessing the scene, whether the relationship within the Katomena group was becoming frosty towards you, or it was still just normal? Or maybe put it the other way, is to find out as to whether had they now become aware that you actually capture the scene as is at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. That is exactly what I suspected. Some of the members were very much aware, and I think the senior members, they were aware of what I have done. Johan Boyson had tipped them off in 2004, because you'll find out this was a very late case. Perhaps the chair can help us and identify that scene, because we mentioned earlier on which year it was. So it must have been late, after 2004 or after 2006. So in 2004, when I did the secret recording and I made the internal disclosure to my commanding officer, which is Johan Boyson, he tipped off the members. So there were afterwards other incidents that happened of me asking too many questions and disclosing to some other people, which I can refer to. And now the senior officers were aware of this. And that's how I interpreted of what happened there. That was the very first time I was ever declined to enter a crime scene by the same people, the same Katumani unit.
Thank you, Mr. Danikas. And maybe just the final question about your eagerness and willingness to assist in the resolving the South African crime to an extent possible within your means. It would appear from the record, and in particular AD 18 that appears on page 32 of your statement, that at least as far back as then, your attorney Julian Knight and associates were communicating with Mr. Maema, Advocate Maema, I beg your pardon, Advocate Maema, to try to nudge them in the direction that firstly you are willing to testify, and what are they doing, what is delaying with getting information. Is that understanding correct?
Madam Chair, my understanding is that you're asking me that we were frustrated and we keep asking the Advocate Maema, what is going on? Are you going to still call us as witness? Are you intending calling us? Is that the question? I might misunderstood you.
You have captured it correctly. Thank you. Then you can go ahead and answer the question.
So that's what I said earlier on. It was a frustrating situation because the NPA was coming in and out of my life. Think about it, 2012, they came to me, they came to Greece. They left. They came back 2014. I came to Greece. I make myself available. Lawyers. Have meetings. They leave. Nothing. Then 2016, they're coming back. Again, for a period of time, nothing. Then my mutual legal agreement statement surfaced out of the blue with no contacts of mine. And it was a miracle that we discovered it from the documentary and assigned my statement. Then nothing. And then I find out by the media that the Catherine charges were withdrawn in 2019. In fact, I was in hospital. I remember that.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Danikas. That was my last question. Thank you, Chair.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Adv.Tembeka. Mr. Danikas, we are going to adjourn until tomorrow morning when the evidence leaders will ask you questions, if any. I suppose you will be available from, say, 9 o'clock, correct?
Correct, Madam Chair, as long as the internet is working at the South African Embassy.
We will request through the spokesperson and others to speak to the ambassadorial staff in Greece to make sure that we don't get the interruptions we got today, we experienced today. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much indeed for making yourself available and the patience you have displayed thus far. We will proceed tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Advocate Mutlamunyani, we will start at 9 o'clock tomorrow with you.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. As we adjourn, remember you are under oath, Mr. Danikas.
Yes, I am, Chair. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will adjourn until tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I'm not sure whether Mr. Danikas is still there. There was a slip. Do communicate with him. Mr. Ramokhadi, you remember when you spoke last week during the absence of your leader, Adv.Tembeka Ngcukaitobi, we arranged that we will start with the ruling in the decoupling application matter, meaning that we will start with that ruling. I suppose it will take us a bit of a while. We will adjourn for tea and then start with the witness. It will probably be safer to say he must be available from 11 o'clock. We will all have tea so that we should be able to start at 11 with him. I don't think we will present the ruling for more than 2 hours. After the ruling, we will take tea early and start with the witness at 11 o'clock. Kindly communicate to Mr. Danikas to be here at 11 o'clock. That will enable the staff in Greece at the ambassadorial premises to get the house in order insofar as connectivity is concerned. We will start at 9 o'clock, deliver the ruling, take a break, and start with the witness, Advocate Motlamanyane.
That's in order, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. We adjourn.